Good afternoon. Today is the 30th of July, and I'm pleased to say that the Rover is back from its repairs. But the question is, what was wrong with the car and what exactly was done to fix it? The main issue with the car, which is why it dumped all that coolant all over the Ssangyong dealership forecourt last Tuesday, was that the plastic thermostat housing, which lies in the V of the KV6 engine, is very, very prone to failure. And that is exactly what happened. When my friend Jordan, who also has a KV6 engine car, in this case a 2004 MG Z TT 190 Plus, he looked in the V of the engine, and I poured water straight into it for him, and literally it was just coming straight out the side of the thermostat housing. The thumbnail you would have seen will show the thermostat housing completely exploded. It's a very, very common problem, actually, not just with Rovers. I know that it can happen on some of the V8 engined X300 and X308 Jaguar V8 engines, which are about the same age as this particular car. It's also a problem with Family 1 engines, particularly the later sort of 2000s one, like the one in the Astra H twin top that I had, which again had a failed plastic thermostat housing, and that's just the way that it is. But the issue is on a KV6 is that it's a little bit hard to get to. You have to take quite a lot of parts off to actually get the thermostat housing replaced. Because Jordan's already done, sorry about the alarm in the background, because Jordan's already done this on his car, and actually more than that, he had to replace both head gaskets and the cam belt and a water pump in his car. He actually knew exactly what to do, and he's managed to fix it for me, which is very kind of him. The kit that he's used is from a local MG Rover specialist in Southampton, and it is a better part than what was originally on the car. You might argue that it's not too bad, that, you know, that's lasted a good 17 years, and so that's not bad, but they're just a common failure point on the engines, and it just happened to go. The fact the car had been sitting for a long time before we bought it last month, the fact that it was a warm day when we drove back from the nature reserve in the Isle of Purbeck, which is where we were that morning, and the fact that it was a 90-mile journey with the air conditioning on, and with one or two hills on it, probably didn't help. But never mind, that's done. The other things that were an issue with the car, the auxiliary belt was the original auxiliary belt. I remember Mr. Coleman at some point telling me to change it, which unfortunately I neglected to do. I didn't change it. Jordan happened to have one that was off his car, that had been barely used actually before being changed again, so it went straight on, and so I don't need a new auxiliary belt now, which is very good because I'll be using the air conditioning of this car, I imagine, for much of the rest of the next few months. The other thing that's happened is that where the cruise control diaphragm, which sits on top of the plastic inlet manifold, which I'm getting replaced at some point anyway, because the Viz system on the manifold has broken, and it's again a very common fault on V6 mentioned Rovers of this period. The cruise control diaphragm has a little sort of plastic spoon thing that comes out the back of it, and I don't know what you call it, a bolt. It's made of plastic, and it broke, so I would have had no cruise control. You can't just tape up this sort of spoon thing with duct tape after you've glued it. You just have to glue it and hope it comes back in. I think it's working okay, but I might see if I can get another one of those. It's not a particularly difficult thing to replace, actually, but it would be nice to actually have that replaced so it doesn't break again. It's again a cheap, crummy plastic part which is 17 years old and just sort of went brittle and broke, which, you know, is stupid. That part shouldn't be made of plastic in that way. So yes, I'm very fortunate that that is the case. I think the car is basically okay at the moment. We're going to refrain from taking it on journeys that are too long for the time being, just so it sort of settles in. We'll keep an eye on the coolant level, because it was literally just dropping out of the bottom of the engine, as you saw in spectacular fashion last week. And so yes, that's what we're going to do at the moment. Of course, we've got the Tivoli for doing long journeys, but this will be okay for shorter journeys, and just for getting around, that's not a problem. And I think next week we're having the car filmed by another channel, which would be nice. Several channels have expressed interest in filming this car. After all, they only made 700 V6 45s, so it's not exactly common, and we'll see how that goes. Something else I wish to touch on briefly is that I had a regular viewer contact me the other day who wanted to contribute financially towards the channel, and I didn't really know what to say to that. I mean, I don't think it's fair to ask people to have to give you money to watch videos on YouTube that are free or anything like that, and it's not something we've discussed, I think, on this channel for a very long time. But clearly bigger channels than this, Furious Driving, Hubnut, JM on Cars, they all have a donation system or two in place, either channel memberships or Patreon generally. I'm not saying that that's something that I would want to do. I was genuinely surprised and absolutely kind of humbled that somebody would want to give towards a channel, and the money that was given from this overseas viewer will be going straight towards the production of the next episode of True Jacket Read, which has been filmed, but it needs to be edited, and that should be up next week. So we'll put that straight back into that. As you know from probably loads of people on YouTube, you don't really make money at the level that I'm at. You spend a lot of money putting the content out, and it doesn't really come back in until you're pretty big, actually. So yes, I mean, if that's what you'd like me to do, I'm very happy to set something up. I'm not saying I'm asking for any money or anything like that. I'm just asking really you what you think. I mean, I'm very happy to just keep going as we are and just have no system in place at all, and for you just to continue to enjoy and watch the videos. I never would want to kind of put things behind a paywall in that sort of way. I don't think that would be right, but obviously I am in a situation where I've been asked about financial contributions towards the channel, particularly if we're going to have things like rover problems in the future, which I can't say whether that will happen or not. Then maybe that's something that we need to consider. But thank you ever so much once again for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more updates on this car, for more automotive hijinks and general japery. Don't forget to visit my Facebook page, facebook.com/Lloyd Vehicle Consulting, and also instagram.com/Lloyd_Vehicle_Consulting. And thank you ever so much indeed to everybody who has supported the channel since we started 2 years ago.